Okay, so we're going to get started with the first example that we're going to do is a cut or scar. Now, bear in mind that these are not, supposed to be realistic. By no means. They are more for dramatic effect, something like for film or for theatre. And indeed, this is where I learnt these processes from a theatre makeup course I did in Chippendale, which the company no longer exists. But anyway, these steps, as you've seen, everything you can use at home and make at home. And so let's get started. So first you want to create a traumatized area on the skin. So I'm going to use the lipstick color, which is again matte, not pearly, not glossy, has to be matte and a fleshy color. So think of a raw steak. So I'm just going to color the area that I want to put the flesh material over. You can use your finger to blend it in, maybe blend out the edges. This is going to be sort of a wound that's been there for a little bit, so it's starting to bruise around the sides. Okay, now I'm going to use a spatula, plastic spatula, or you could use a paddle pop stick. Paddle pop stick would work just fine. And I'm just going to get some of this flesh material and just go easy with it. So this is what this does is it builds up the area, and this is like the flesh that's being kind of lifted up, traumatized. We could say maybe a knife went through my hand, and so I'm going to make a bit of a separation in the middle where the knife went through, and that's where I'm going to put the blood. So obviously you can spend some time working that around, but you do have some play time, because you can when we put the tissue paper on top, so you can see what's happening there. It's kind of looking kind of nasty at the moment. Okay, and what I'm going to do now is, you can see I've got tissue paper, and I've separated the two ply from each other. And if you have a blue tinge tissue paper or yellow, that's even better than white. And then what I'm going to do is just tear the tissue so that it is kind of in the shape of the wound that I've got, very roughly. Doesn't have to be accurate. And then I'll put that on top. Now this is where you use the gel medium. Okay, so you put some of the gel medium on top of that. And use any kind of brush to spread the gel on top. And this is what creates the fake skin. and holds the, I'll just take that bit of paper off. Oops, a bit too much there. This is what holds the Vaseline or flesh material in place so it doesn't fall apart. And I can now, with the tissue paper on top, I can just manipulate it a bit more. I'll just get that piece off. Okay. So obviously the more time you have, the more you can play with it. And the beauty with this gel is, as it starts to get drier, it actually creates a nicer effect. It sort of creates this effect of actual skin on top. So that's a bonus. So now I'm going to get a dropper, and I'm going to pick up some of the blood. And just go slowly with this because you don't want to add too much too quickly. I'm just pouring it through the middle. And you can see how that's starting to now look like a really traumatized area. And of course, when it starts to drip a little bit, this is when you start to get that sort of really authentic. And now the students could then, on location, have a little bit more blood and, you know, put that in there and really have some fun with it. Okay, so the next thing I'll do is a pussy boil. To remove this, it's quite simple. Just get some paper, wipe it off, and then just some soap and water or a makeup wipe.